Age of Barbarian is one of my favorite games ever. How much do I like this game? How does almost 130 hours accumulated playtime sound? Huh? Yeah, I thought so. Alright, back up. Let me explain. Age of Barbarian is a side-scrolling sword and sorcery action platformer developed by an Italian indie company called Crian Soft, consisting primarily of one Christian Fanucci and responsible for such games as BAD Battle Armor Division, Karate Master 2, Knockdown Blow, and of course, the Age of Barbarian series. First released in 2012, it was made available on Steam 4 years later as the Extended Cut, with added features and improvements, eventually including 2 extra levels as DLC. You play as one of 2 characters on a quest of bloody revenge against the evil sorcerer Necron and his minions. Rahan the Barbarian, whose tribe was killed and enslaved by his armies, and Shayna, the warrior princess, who was made a slave to Necron after her kingdom was conquered. Both characters play almost identically beyond the obvious differences, with Rahan doing a bit more damage and Shayna being a bit faster. In either case, you'll adventure across multiple levels worth of combat, exploration, and platforming before finally reaching Necron's floating fortress and giving him a taste of your steel. And that's pretty much it story-wise. The game's narrative is simple, albeit with the nice touch of having separate introductions for both characters and different cutscenes. Both their narratives intersect at times, although without either meeting or teaming up. Aside from that, the game also features multiple paths through the levels, with additional bosses to fight to rescue scantily clad maidens. Safely escorting said maidens to the end of the level will allow you to open up special doors and get the better of 2 available endings. Overall, it's a straightforward sword and sorcery romp, inspired by classic movies and artwork of the genre, like Frazetta and Vallejo. In terms of what you do during said romp, the game consists primarily of hack-and-slash combat with early Prince of Persia-style platforming, exploring the levels while dodging traps, along with brief sections where you ride some sort of beast dealing with enemies along the way. There's a bit of a leveling system, although your character's stats upgrade automatically without you needing to make any choices, and you stop receiving new moves after hitting level 7 or so. However, I do like the fact that your basic attack combo does get longer as you level up. Beyond that, you have hidden relics to equip for bonuses, consumable items to collect or buy from a wandering merchant, new weapons to acquire, and a camping mechanic to top off your lives that may result in enemy ambush if you don't apply your button mashing skills to the fullest. Graphically, the game looks nice, with a lot of environmental detail in the back and foreground. I especially like the little touches, like ferns moving when you walk past, or the water rippling and splashing as you run through it. I also like the way the blood spreads out in it when you carve a serpent man in half, but that's par for the course given the variety of gory kills you can inflict on enemies.
You will taste my steel!
The characters' models were made by rendering a 3D model into a high-res 2D sprites, which results in pretty smooth animations, especially for the heroes, but also goes a long way towards showing off their assets. Make no mistake, this is a game that knows exactly what it is and what it wants to be, to the point where there's an optional B-movie filter that adds film grain, visible wires, and continuity issues to the cutscenes. There's obviously a censor option for those who want it, but let's be honest, if you have the slightest interest in this genre of fantasy, you should know that heaving bosoms come standard. Plus, Shayna regularly cuts off guys' dicks, so it's all good. Of course, it's not all smooth sailing. The game is unfortunately pretty buggy. Aside from graphical issues and enemy pop, and the 2 most pronounced ones I ran into was a black screen on startup when I had a Cytec P990 controller plugged in, and a progression blocker when killing an 8-man on a set of stairs in the 2nd level. And yes, the translation from Italian to English can be hilariously bad at times, as can the voice acting.
My name is Karina. I was offered to the snake people. Be my father.
Finally, the narrator, while fun, does chime in a bit too frequently, which can get annoying after a while.
Dismemberment, gutting, blood and gore. How could you ever get bored of this?
So after all that, why is this one of my favorite games? Well, to me, it's a sum of its parts is greater than the whole kind of deal. It just hits all the right beats for me. The unironic sword and sorcery aesthetic, the visual style, the simple but satisfying gameplay. Objectively, Age of Barbarian is a flawed game in many ways, but it remains to this day one I keep coming back to. And with a sequel in the works, along with a Patreon to fund it, link in the description below, now's a great time for any sword and sorcery fan to give it a shot. It's not particularly expensive even when it's not on sale, which is frequent, and if your taste for boobs, blood, and broadswords run as deep as mine, you won't regret it.